The storms have gone by us to the south and to the north and hadn't really hit Abilene proper. So, you know,
But still chances for more rain today and tomorrow. Was it raining when you were coming in?
it's very, very slight, you know, like kind of just that annoying amount that every so often you have to turn on the windshield wipers and it's just enough to kind of smear, not really like,
The annoying amount of
yes,
misty.
misty, yes.
Is there a level of misty that's a problem?
Well,
Yeah.
It's
I'm sure
debatable.
Clay will be on any moment.
I'm self-aware enough to know that yes, sometimes misties can be a problem.
Oh, well, good stuff, yeah.
Y'all were
good
so
weekend.
quiet when I walked in. I was
Well, we were
wondering-
kind of shocked. I mean,
Yeah.
I was working on a few things, show-wise and then work-wise, and then we were just kind of talking, and you came out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
Save the day, I love it.
yeah, saved the day. But I was in Lubbock yesterday for some work stuff, and a lot of the co-ops that were going back up north, or Dalhart around that area, so they've got a chance of actual snow this weekend.
that would be interesting.
Yeah, well, do you remember in /96 we had that Easter that like had
Yes.
inches of snow?
Yes, it's like the most snow I've ever seen.
Yeah, in
And it was in
April.
April.
Yes, April of '96, class of '96 right
I
here.
don't recall 96.
Oh, don't act like you were so young back then.
I was not living here in 96.
I bet it snowed in San
I
Angelo,
really don't
Great
recall
Creek.
that.
I'm sure it snowed in the Great Creek, Robert Lee Crawford.
Robert Lee.
I'm sure it did. So anyway, lots to cover today. We got another week of golf. Addie's heading off to Augusta National today. She'll be there for the drive, chip, and putt. Encourage you get up if you're getting ready for church or set your recorder. It's always fun watching those kids compete. There'll probably be some other kids from Texas in different ages, but Addie will head off Sunday, and she leaves today for Augusta. Of course, Sydney will be going tomorrow. And then she'll compete drive, chip, and putt. But this morning, at the bottom of the hour, our Big Country Leisure My Town segment, we'll have Branson King, who is a senior golfer at Abilene Cooper. He qualified for the regional golf tournament as a senior. A great way to go out, continuing his golf career there at Cooper. Him and Mitch Aston and a familiar face, maybe joining as well, his father, Kyle King from Mulligan's, and of course, a great friend of the show, and we'll look forward to having him on at the bottom of the hour. Baseball is happening. Josh, I was so glad that the Dodgers did not play last night because I could still say it for the third week in a row. They're on pace to win 162 games.
It's getting a bit ridiculous.
Well, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, and I'll be glad to change that up. But the Rangers have the best record in the American League at 5-2, so we have a lot of good stuff happening there. Rangers, a couple of hiccup day in Cincinnati, and we'll talk about that. But back-to-back 1-0 wins. We'll get Josh's take on that as well. March Madness is happening. It's ending this weekend. It's happening just south of us. Kicking myself for not heading to San Antonio today to be down there for that. A lot of going on along with the Valero Open. So much to talk about. We'll dive into our Lawrence Hall headline report. We got an update on our hat situation. We got hats coming that will be right side up or the upside down side of things soon. And so lots to talk about. Our brackets. Our bracket challenge is done fantastic. Misty is in second. We'll look at that. We'll dive deeper into the broken hearts of Texas Tech. I've got an Uber car story to share later, but we'll dive into our Lawrence Hall headline report. Lawrence Hall brought to you, Lawrence Hall Abilene, 1385 South Danville. Lawrence Hall Abilene online.com is where you can get your goods. You know, a lot of people don't pay attention do not pay attention to March Madness, or not March Madness, but NCAA men's basketball until now, because it's March Madness. A lot of people do the same thing with the NBA, and I'll be honest with you, I tuned in last night to watch the NBA last night because Luka and the Lakers and LeBron were playing Golden State and Steph Curry last night. Golden State won 123-116. Steph Curry goes for 37 points, LeBron 33. Since Jimmy Butler came to the Golden State Warriors, they are 19-2. If Steph, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green are on the floor and in the lineup. They're 19-2, so they could possibly be a great run, a great opportunity for them to get in the way of folks. And so anyway, I'm bringing that up because I'll start paying a little more attention. Dallas looks like they're going to get into the play-in game. I would love to see Dallas and Los Angeles play in the playoffs. We'll see what happens. Couple things. The Valero Open's happening down in San Antonio. Folks that are trying to maybe qualify one more time to get into Augusta National, which the Masters will be next week. Leading that tournament after round one, Sam Ryder at 9 under, Keith Mitchell at 8. Some other folks that had a pretty decent round. Jordan Spieth shot 5 under, so that'll be happening this weekend. Lots going on in San Antonio. I'll be curious. We may look during a break how much a hotel room is tonight or tomorrow night in San Antonio with the Final Four and the Valero Open happening in this weekend. So that's happening there. One of the things that we didn't talk about last week, actually we'll end it with that. A couple of contract signings that happened yesterday. Geno Smith has signed a 2-year, $75 million, 66 of it guaranteed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Can you think of a guy that had a resurrected, rejuvenated career more than what Geno Smith has had? I mean, he went to the Jets, drafted, and then was like you're done with, move on, we don't need you. Goes to Seattle, literally rejuvenated, resurrected career, and now has signed a 2-year, $75 million contract and 66 of it guaranteed.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things that he was kind of afterthought, thought of maybe to be just a backup kind of guy, and then went into camp. I guess it was with Seattle as a competition that he ended up winning, and then performed. So
I actually love when that happens, though. Whenever they're able to.
What round was he drafted in? Did you look that up? I meant to. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
I will look it up, but I'm telling you, I tried to call in. I tried to call into a couple of different ESPN and didn't get in to give your take because over the last week, I have looked up from 2015 to now, and the number of quarterbacks that you do not know that were drafted that did not make it or never had a career is mind-boggling.
Like I said, it wasn't just some off-the-wall thought I had. I hadn't put like pen to paper, so to speak, and actually outlined it. But I just was thinking about it, and I do believe that it is foolish to draft a quarterback early.
I knew that the way you delivered that to Hodge last week, I was like, I knew you were on it because of your delivery.
But it's, I mean, I understand why it happens because it's the most important.
Well, right. If you get it right, you alter your franchise moving forward for the next decade. But if you get it wrong, you also alter your franchise by completely wasting a first-round pick.
But I thought about it more, and we may run out of this, and I've got more football talk later. It's very similar to fantasy football. The more I thought about it.
Yeah.
If you think about it, in a fantasy football league, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL, but nobody picks him in the first round.
Right.
Josh Allen is a fantasy football point collector, but nobody drafts him in the first round. They get running backs, they get receivers, and they may get the tight end if there's somebody like Travis Kelce or Trey McBride, who just signed a 4-year, $76 million deal, who now becomes the highest paid tight end in the league, taking that spot over from Travis Kelce. It makes a lot of sense. And what's funny is, and I didn't know if they listened to the show, they might have, because ever since last Friday, and I know there's, who am I kidding? They probably don't subscribe to you like you do. But there's talks now of Shadur Sanders dropping. Should the Browns and the Giants both take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or a receiver or a left tackle? And they've got, and I know it's talk, I totally get it. I know there's things that you want to talk about because you've got a 4-hour show like on Sportsmanlike. You got a 3 or 4 hour show like, if you fill in the blank, the ticket, wherever. And so they start talking about, does he fall all the way to 9 to the Saints? Does he fall because, yes, he's been a culture changer in high school, Jackson State and Colorado, they were good. what will he be in the NFL? And so it really makes you start thinking, do you surround your people, your quarterback with because it's like coaches. When people start saying, well, got to go find a new coach. Well, there's only one Andy Reid. There's one Bill Belichick. There's one Mike Tomlin. You fill in the blank. You go get somebody to hopefully figure it out. And maybe they become Sean McVay. But for the most part, you just got to realize you got to get somebody that just helps you get through and help you make it better. Because Sean McDermott's a good coach, but he may not ever win it. And in the same breath of that, in the quarterback world, there's only one Mahomes. I mean, Lamar Jackson's great, but he still can't get it done.
Right.
But if you surround them with talent that they can get the ball to and be able to throw and stand in the pocket, do you make the best team or have the best player?
Well, and that is exactly what my thought process was when I started having this thought process about drafting a quarterback. When you see teams, like when Dak took over for Romo and he was injured, and I think that was the best Cowboys team to take the field since the triplets disbanded. Like 2016, I was like, I feel like Uncle Rico. We go back and we win state. Just Romo getting hurt really derailed that, but it also allowed Dak to step up and become the franchise quarterback. But the thing about that team is it had one of the best offensive lines, like the best offensive line in football at the time, had talent. Zeke was good at the time, the whole team was good. So Dak could just step in. Dez Bryant was right. Dak could just step in. You still had Witten kind of past his prime, but still doing Witten things, so it was like Dak just had to step in and do his job. He didn't have to be a superhero, and it turned him into a franchise quarterback. You saw the same thing with Brock Purdy, who was Mr. Irrelevant, couldn't even get a job. Last guy picked up in the draft, but he had superstar talent all around him. And when the injuries led to him being there, suddenly he's in the top 10 quarterback list, so I think 100% offensive line and weapons. Your quarterback can then be he doesn't have to be Mahomes or Manning,
Yeah, it's interesting. They're still very strong about Cam Ward, but it was just funny from last Friday up until now. Every show I was watching and listening to had Sugar with a question mark. Is Sugar dropping? And anyway, could be happening, who knows? But Geno Smith didn't drop, and he's got one to the bank, and so is Trey McBride. When we come back, we'll talk baseball. The Rangers, again, 5-2. Dodgers still on pace to win 162 games. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're going to change that since he's here. We'll go ahead and do baseball next.
Okay.
Consider March Madness next. I haven't looked at the bracket in a while. Did you give me breakfast?
I did. Like an old man with his coffee. It's a little bit warmer in here too. We're gonna do one segment and then we're on a break right now, but. Y'all can sit over here, just pull those out and sit over there, or oh, yeah.
Who was it that let some choice words go when they thought they weren't live? Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know if you got sausage and biscuits, but I've got sausage and biscuits.
That'll be perfect when I head on home. There you go. Oh, how are y'all?
Good. Or wherever.
Where y'all want?
Wherever, just sit, or you can move them that way so y'all can see a little bit better. It doesn't matter, there's another one.
All right, we got to talk about the torpedo bat.
Okay.
Don't ask me any questions about that. Oh, man.
Yeah. Got all my stuff going on.
Yeah, I got in about 11 o'clock, or 11:30 last night. Went and watched my kid play, run track.
Where was the track meet?
Richland and Colleyville.
Oh, wow.
I went to, I got in and went and Tracy was at ballet, and so I went and watched the end of the district track meet, y'all's district track meet.
Yeah.
the perks of calling games there. I went straight to the press box.
What was it
At Wiley.
at? Oh,
Yeah, I went straight to the press box. Like, I'm not like the truck outside. I don't have anybody running, which is cool because Tara's daughter Joey's on the. I got there just in time to watch the end of the 200, and then the mile and then the mile relay. And when I got up there, they were talking about how the team total was close, like Wiley and Abilene High were close, and it came down to the mile relay, and Abilene High got like last, second to last or something.
well, Kinley's team in the 4x1, I found out that the third leg, which going into the 4x1, they were leading their district fight.
Who was?
My kid at like Rickson High, and the third leg girl decided to go on a cruise instead of going to district.
Oh, goodness.
And so they get fourth instead of second. Yeah.
That's a parent issue.
Oh,
That's okay to do when they're in second grade,
Yeah.
third grade.
But here's my thing is she had an older sister. Her older sister stayed. She's not a team player. She doesn't.
oh, that's terrible.
So they got fourth and
That's even a bigger parent problem when you've got.
That sounds a lot. If the one kid stayed and said, I know I need to stay.
I mean, yeah, that's wild.
I thought my dad was coming.
You know, he's got time.
Yeah, you are a little early. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all just settle in.
I was sitting here thinking, I'm like,
Well, welcome back to the Hot Track Sports Life and everything in between. It's time for our First Bank and Trust Texas Ranger report. Texas Ranger and MLB report. Texas Rangers 5-2, leading the ALS. The Angels out of nowhere kind of making, I don't know if they play bad teams or if old Ron Washington's got the old windmill rolling and or what. But I've noticed, I guess it was last week, I looked at the standings, and this was before the Rangers, I guess they were the second place team based on the bracket or on the standings. So, wow, the Angels out of nowhere. Maybe old Ron got things rolling, and the next thing you know, Rangers on top, 5-2, second stance. They won the series against Boston, went to Cincinnati, had a rough day, round one, and then the second, they won back-to-back 1-0 games. I don't know. I'm sure there's a stat somewhere on how often that's happened. But anyway, so the Rangers 5-2. And I'll say it again, the Dodgers still on pace to win 162 games, along with the Padres. They have not lost either. So, Josh, how do you feel? They've got the Rays coming to town, already back home at Arlington. We'll talk about the Rangers, and then we must talk about the secret weapon that the Yankees are using.
Yes, you're right. We do need to talk about that, and I feel like the world is paying for your some transgression that you've committed with, and that the punishment is we have to continually hear about the Dodgers not losing, and I'm tired of it, and it's all your fault.
How is it my fault? How many?
Because you
have
you have the incredible reverse jinx ability. You talk about it all the time.
You really
And
do.
last year you were on and on about you wanted anybody but the Dodgers to win the World Series. So of course they win the World Series. And now they're just not going to lose a game for the entire year. So,
should I become a Dodgers fan?
if you become a Dodgers fan, like Ohtani will instantly blow out his elbow and they'll just like sink into oblivion. So there's probably people that'll pay you not to. You might just post your services online.
Only fans.
I'm not sure if that's if that's the correct venue. I'm not sure, but
I'll just wear a Dodgers hat in front of a webcam.
yeah. Hopefully it's more than just a Dodgers hat.
It got real weird.
But anyway,
Ohtani to the plate.
yeah. But yes, the Rangers have started out like they're 5-2, so that's good. The the worrisome part is the offense really hadn't done anything. When you go to Cincinnati, you come back, 2 games to 1 on, in the column. And so you think that's good, but then you also figure out that they were outscored in those 3 games, 14-5. So not a lot of offense. They scratched together some garbage time runs in the 14 run outburst that the Reds had the other night, and then got really great pitching to go back-to-back shutouts, which Navaldi did it all by himself with a complete game. It was one of those early season moments of watching baseball and truly feeling like some apprehension. Watching that 9th inning where they got a runner on base and Ellie De La Cruz comes up, and he's obviously their best hitter. And then it was deja vu the next day when 1-0 runner on base and Ellie De La Cruz is up again. So 2 days in a row, the Rangers got those 1-0 shutouts. But I'm going to go ahead and say that they're going to have to start scoring runs because the pitching staff's doing all right, but you're not going to win a whole lot of 1-0 games. At least it's going to balance out at some point that it will go the other way. So,
and I mentioned that baseball is the king of stats. Of course, Football Reference is trying to catch that up too. The Reds are the first since 1960 to lose 3 straight 1-0 games.
That's a terrible stat.
Yeah, but you think 1960, that's a long time.
That is a long time. But that also, she doesn't remember the snow in 96. But it also just shows that, obviously their offense is not good, but their pitching is doing pretty good, So baseball balances out typically. And that's why when teams really exceed the kind of the mean when it comes to 1-run games, there's a lot of just luck involved in that. Because, one swing of the bat at any point in the game and, that score does not hold, so hopefully the bats start to rattle a little bit and we get things going. We got Malley pitching against the Rays today. His first start did not go as planned, so that's, we'll kind of wait and see on that. And then obviously DeGrom after that, and so that
my
good.
question is, why are we using the torpedo bat?
Well, apparently it hadn't got the memo yet.
All right, so the New York Yankees are using the torpedo bat. Who else? Anybody else?
Well, I believe Ellie De La Cruz is also, and he had quite the game against the Rangers, but it didn't help the next 2 days.
We got to talk about this torpedo bat. We got a few minutes.
Okay. Well, it's one of those things that's very, very interesting. The whole story behind it. The Yankees analytics staff determined that the ability to barrel up a ball is difficult, but that's the goal of hitting the ball hard. You want to barrel it up, and somehow through their study of the analytics, the numbers behind things, they found that most balls are hit lower down on the bat than at the end, but the bat's fattest at the end, and then kind of typically just tapers down. And so anyway, they then got with some bat manufacturers to come up with the plan of making the fattest part of the bat on the part of the bat where you're more likely to hit the baseball, which makes sense. But then to keep the bat from being overly heavy, they then taper the bat back down the other way, hence the torpedo shape. And so the meat, the barrel, the sweet spot of the bat is where you're more likely to hit it, so you hit the ball harder.
It reminds me of, we got golf coming at the bottom of the hour, but Nike came out with the squash square.
Yeah, Sasquatch.
Driver. Yes. It's all like, hey, this is going to work. And now you don't see those anymore. But the torpedo, they went, 9 home runs in one game?
Yes.
The Yankees, it reminds me, and I'm sure you had one of these back at Robert Lee when you were playing, and or Great Creek, the little red bat that has the red bat with the plastic ball, and it was a huge.
Oh yeah.
The huge barrel bat.
Oh yes, yes.
I feel like that's what they're.
It makes a very
with.
distinct sound when you swing it.
Like what Bam Bam holds in
yes,
the Flintstones?
yes.
Yes.
Like a cool.
But
Yeah.
interestingly, with all of this, Aaron Judge, who's just absolutely mashing the ball, is not using the torpedo bat. Still uses the same traditional bat. But it's one of those things that people brought up. Well, is it legal? But it's completely legal because the rules just state that the bat has to be below a certain diameter and below a certain length. And that's all that the rules say, and made out of certain woods. And all of that. So no one ever said you can't make that the fattest diameter part of it lower on the barrel. So it's
and
just
deep down, of course, shout out to Jaden Fronter House, a member of our church I wrote in. Congratulations, girl dad, just as a couple weeks ago. He still has the square 90 driver, and the dude smashes it. He's been using it for 10 to 15 years.
It sounds like you hit a golf ball with a shovel when you hit it.
He smacks it far. But it's no different if you think about it. In the new drivers today, you can adjust where you can.
Yeah, where the sweet spot is.
Your
right.
draw, if you're cut or fade or whatever. I mean, they finally done it. Didn't they hire didn't the guy come from like MIT? Like instead of Moneyball, it's going to be Sweet Spot Ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
new movie with Jonah Hill.
It's just the whole process of playing within the rules, but using the science, the analytics that all these baseball teams have spent tons of money on now.
We got two things left. This question, one other thing. Will you get a torpedo bat for the Hodgeback team out in Tuscola, Jim Ned Little League?
I don't know that I've seen them in aluminum yet, but
sounds like Jim Ned ag class. Can you make a torpedo bat for little kids?
Would
it be legal?
It's gonna happen if it's within the legal specs, and the metal bat world is so different now because there's different ratings and all the rules and how they dumb them down so they're not as hot, and that's I guess a safety issue or whatever that goes with it. Because used to, you remember back in the 90s, obviously Misty doesn't remember it, but
No.
those TPX bats and the Easton Black Magic back then, they were
Easton
hot.
Black Magic was the bat. If you had one of those, it's like you stole it from Knight Rider.
Yes, they were hot, and then people were college ball at the time. People hit the ball too hard. It was unrealistic. I guess it was always hard to judge whether their power would carry over when they went to a wood bat, and all of that was conversation. So the metal bats all got dumbed down. So they have to be below a certain factor. I don't know all the science behind that, but there may be more rules in the aluminum bat world that restrict something like the torpedo, but with all of the just fanfare that's going on right now, if there's a company out there that released a T-ball through high school torpedo bat, they would fly off the shelves. Even if they didn't work.
No doubt.
Just like they would fly off the shelves.
All right, hey, before we go to commercial, April 2nd is Josh's birthday, so I asked his wife what he liked. So we got you some Topo Chico.
I do like Topo Chico.
I was going to get you a tall boy, but.
Oh, well, it might be too early for that.
Well, I don't know, they have commercials.
It was your birthday.
Yeah.
And then I wrapped up, she said she liked some candy and some beef
Oh,
jerky, so there you go.
yes, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you very
So,
much.
Heck, I only got Tootsie Pops.
I got
Good,
beef
you get
jerky.
like a whole bag. I
I
can see where I stand in this trio. It's fine.
You got decorations.
Yeah.
I did, well.
Yeah, you got reminded how old you are. All right, hey, so again, Josh's birthday, we'll find out how old he is when he comes back. I've got questions coming in from Coach Bacon for Coach Aston. When we come back, and those not on the script, he's already freaking out. When we come back, we'll talk my Big Country Electric My Town segment right after this with some golf.
Happy birthday in person. Happy
We all fair?
birthday in
Huh?
person.
We all fair?
Except oh, they're all good.
Good. Well, we're gonna do, I think, 2 and 2 on the mics, because you
I
may,
don't have to.
well, I don't
I'm
know.
just here to.
Okay, then we'll do,
I'm just here
y'all 2.
Mitch freak out. Why?
What has a more difficult
There's no
loss?
reason to
What is
freak
his
out.
favorite Bengals Super Bowl?
Oh.
Those are the questions
That was a
flooding
good
in from
one.
our listeners.
We have to give the listeners what they want, Mitch. Sorry.
All right, so Branson, you can either share with Misty, or if y'all go to that chair, for, and then, yeah, one of you up to that chair, then over
Or
there.
y'all can both hug up, it doesn't matter. Sometimes, yeah, you can sit or stand or whatever.
Have to be right up on it.
You already know,
Yeah,
I know Mitch
normally.
said,
Sometimes when there's, I mean, y'all
Is there
can sit, but you'll have to come in,
Okay.
it's kind of, so
Okay.
if y'all wanna stand and
Because I'm
do it, you
gonna
can, it's up to y'all.
I've got a table.
Yeah, you're good, and then as long as you can get in.
But there's no way to play them before, because we don't know what the format is, right? Yeah, no, you gotta wait for after that. Okay, so we can play up Tuesday.
And the attorneys, is it always 2 days? Do sometimes y'all go,
It's always 2 days,
never go to brief unless like,
never 3 days, it's always 2 days.
you know, like any delays or?
No,
yeah.
If it's, then y'all will,
Huh?
it's always 2.
No,
And then the second
he's
day of the.
in there eating.
district, did he win it? That
Or went to
second day,
Can
or
one.
he came back and won? What was the,
He was down 2 shots,
Yeah.
going in with
the
like
second day?
So Branson's, the
second day
whole
with
ask
as a
is,
medalist.
Yeah.
what did you have to finish to be a medalist? Like, how many did they take?
Oh, okay, I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, and then y'all just be sure you speak loud into that, and it'll be good.
Okay.
Hey, what did you hit, 44?
45.
John Conley didn't have a song for Backside of 40.
No.
Should have.
Is there a sausage biscuit in here?
Yep. There's one for you, Branson, Mitch, and Kyle.
All right, thank you.
Breakfast. I
Mitch,
know.
you stopped eating breakfast in 2000.
I mean, I'm going on a trip in 2 months, so trying to watch the cards.
Was that your 40th trip?
Mine and Kyle's trip to Jamaica, man.
Jamaica.
We leave
Down by
literally
the
in
beach.
2 months. Yeah, first week of June, we out. Actually, the last week, Memorial Day weekend, really,
Yeah.
and then we're gone, so.
Wonder who yeah. Ryder and I had fun Monday night.
It was a good time, huh?
I'm glad he said yes, because he's good.
Is he a good player? Are you waving
He
at the wall?
waves at me, and I'm just trying to be kind.
We're fans.
Yeah,
We're
I mean,
fans.
he loves us.
The other thing,
We have regular mall walkers, and we will.
Yes.
We've got to start our mall walker of the week.
They've been our
I hope
OGs from the
Clay
beginning.
saw that and he's freaking out. Yeah, that's awesome. Those are really good.
Well, wait till you see the new ones.
Well, welcome back to the Hodgepodge Sports Life and everything in between. Brought to you by Lotto Lane and Cattle. We are, when you hear that, it's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment where we highlight a local player, coach, or program. And today we're doing all three. Joining us in our Potosi Live studio, the head golf coach at Abilene Cooper, Mitch Aston, and regional qualifier and second-time guest. You were guest with us in the old studio. You remember that?
I do, yeah.
All right. Branson King joining us again. He qualified back-to-back my town segments involving golf. Of course, last week we had Addie Quick, who hopefully should be able to get out, and flights and all that's not, the weather's not an issue, heading to Augusta for the drive, chip, and putt. And so, again, we thank you, Big Country Electric Co-op. They have 3 offices, Roby, Snyder, and Stanford. And nights like last night and yesterday with storms, their linemen taking care and restoring power. Great job to those guys. We appreciate Sarah and Will. But Mitch and Branson, appreciate y'all this morning. It's a little early, but appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah, of course.
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I remember one of the deals when we had it was in the, we were actually in the mall. We were at First Financial with this, and it was the Rams and the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. And I bought a hat, and I gave you that hat.
Yeah, you did. You gave him that hat.
Yeah, I gave the hat to Coach Aston. So
I wore that in the Super Bowl.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And I had the Rams on.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Can we
that.
switch seats, Brent?
But anyway, again, they're here because coach and player are heading to regionals, and so Mitch, how long have you been the golf coach? I know, of course, a lot of people, like my wife, know you as not only a golfer, but a heck of a tennis player. How long have you been coaching at Cooper?
I've been at Cooper for 10 years. This is my 8th year as the head boys golf coach.
And so I put this in. How much has helped something that's kind of started probably within, say, what, in the last 3 or 4 years, junior high golf? Has that helped? How big of a deal is everybody else gets junior high sports from football to volleyball, everything in between? How is junior high golf? Has it gotten more kids involved that found a sport for them something to do?
Yeah, so this is the 2nd year that we've had middle school golf. Before we had like 2 or 3 weeks of intro to golf, but big shout out to Coach Gar for coming in and getting middle school golf in AISD. Right now we have, on the south side, we have 14 golfers in the program. I see it helping the future of Cooper golf because the kids that don't know that we have golf know that we have golf now.
Right.
And then when they get to high school, they already have the basics.
Right.
So I don't have to start teaching the basics as a freshman.
How much do you wish you would have had junior high golf, for instance?
Oh, I really do. I mean, that was kind of, when I was in 8th grade was when I started getting into golf, and so it was kind of more just me practicing on my own, and so that would have been huge.
So how long so you started playing in 8th grade? Golf's been around from your dad, your granddad. Golf's been around a long time. So did you start picking up a golf club earlier, or did you just not till 8th grade?
Well, I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't really take it serious. I mean, because I played baseball, and that was it. That was all I cared about.
Right.
But that summer, really in between my 8th grade and freshman year, was whenever when I started taking it serious.
At what moment were you like, I'm kind of good at this? Because I've only played golf one time and found out real quick it is very hard and I am terrible at it. So at what point, how long were you playing before you were like, I've got a knack for this?
I don't know, probably my freshman year. I mean, I don't know.
So about a year in, 6 months in?
Probably, because I kind of saw myself getting, somewhat better, and I saw myself kind of beating other people and at times, and so.
Let me ask you this, and it's not in the rundown, I apologize, but a lot of people that say golfers and baseballers can't make it work and you have to do all this, how much do you think baseball hand-eye coordination helps them go into golf?
I think it helps a lot. I mean, you look at, there's 2 other sports that golf translates to, tennis,
right,
and baseball.
Which is why my brother-in-law can hit it a mile and still good at tennis.
Hand-eye coordination. I always say, that one of the toughest sports to play is golf. The golf ball's not moving, small.
Hate it.
I mean,
well, I think it is the toughest. I mean, I know we always talk about having to hit a 100-mile ball, 100-mile-an-hour or fastball, or hitting a ball is pretty difficult. But hitting that ball that's not moving anywhere yet is pretty difficult too. And I think more people think they get up there and they just go to hit it. Like this one, who is athletic, she's shocked that she can hit it. But like,
still to this day, yeah, I'm so shocked.
Yeah, but
you just need the right coach.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently I need a one-on-one with Mitch because, yeah.
I'm sure he'll give lessons.
I'm terrible.
I'm sure he'll give lessons. So, so picking it up, because to me, one of the things I love about golf, and I don't know what your plans are after high school to go play whatever. What I love about golf is it can take you places that the other sports can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to Globe Life and say, hey, I'd like to book a batting session.
Yeah.
It'll be loaded.
Yeah.
But I can go play golf at now it can cost a little bit, but I can go when the PGA guys leave, I can go to Valero or go to TPC San Antonio and play there. These other sports don't allow that. And that's what I love about golf. It can take you to go places that other sports can't.
Yes, definitely.
And so one of those is taking you to the regional golf. It couldn't take me there because in high school I played baseball, and like Jaden, who continued, he's still watching as well. Rotan didn't have golf till his senior year. I didn't play it because it wasn't in my mind. I kicked myself daily. I'm sure your dad's the same way. We all played everything else. Why didn't I start golf sooner? Well, it wasn't in my mind to do so. So I didn't get to, I mean, I'd love to start it in 8th grade. I'd love to start it in high school. But, so I didn't get to advance to regional golf. I only advanced to regional tournament as a coach, not in golf. So talk about this journey of golf from this 8th grade to now, to where you're in this position, you are a senior, you're going to regionals. Talk about kind of that progress of why, kind of similar to what Misty, hey, I've gotten better. And then we'll also ask Coach, what's gotten you to this level to where you are able to compete at such a high level?
Well, I mean, a lot of it comes down to me listening to him, because he's been telling me things since my freshman year that I wish I would have listened to, and I finally did this year, and a little bit last
I'm
year.
sure your dad feels the same way. Parents all across wish we'd have listened to him sooner.
And
Mid-junior year is when he finally clicked and said, "Oh, maybe he's right. I should practice a little longer, putt, chip."
Right.
And I mean, this past summer I spent, I mean, if you were going to find me, you were going to find me at the golf course, and that really helped. I mean, the fact that I practiced every day, and, you know, I really put the effort in like he was trying to get me to do, you know, my first 3 years. And so,
Imagine that.
Yeah.
but I mean,
Kyle's over there shaking his head like,
Yep.
So
That's
what
great.
did that mean to you? I mean, and it's no different when I was at Roby coaching, and they say, well, you enjoy these because you don't get these kind of teams all the time. How has it been having someone kind of learn that and see the success that Branson's having, kind of seeing your coaching come through him?
It's a great feeling. I mean, knowing and like I had Branson go talk to my middle school golfers. I said, Branson, I need you to go talk to my middle school golfers. I said, you're a prime example of what it takes, like what I'm trying to preach with these kids, that they need to spend time out there on the golf course, just not in practice with the school.
It's no different than being in the gym.
No.
Either be a gym rat or a range
Yeah.
rat, and you got to pound balls.
Yes. Correctly though. You gotta go out there with a purpose though.
Right. I agree, because a lot of times we go out there and just say, oh, I want to see how far I can hit it.
yeah.
All that doesn't help.
What is the best part of your game? Like, what would you say your niche is?
Right now, probably my irons. I've been hitting my irons really good. Usually it's my wedge from like 70 yards probably, but the past week has been kind of rough with it. But right now it's probably my irons.
Which I would think is huge. Find the fairway and then put yourself in a position to go to the green.
Yes.
So talk about the run that you had. You're heading to regionals. How do you medalist? How, you know, last night I watched track, and so the top 4 go to area and so forth. What qualifies you? Talk about that last day. Misty may have some questions too, but what qualifies you to be a medalist to go to regional?
So basically, you know, they take the top 2 teams in the district, and they go as teams, and then after that they take the top 2 individualists that aren't, you know, on a team that's going. And so going into the second day, I was 2 back from being in that second spot, and I ended up playing with the guy that I was 2 back from on what was that, Monday? And it was really good. It was a lot of fun. We went back and forth the entire round, just kind of blow for blow. You know, I'd make a putt, then he'd make a putt, and eventually
And all this was at Live Oak, right? The
all
final round?
all this was at Diamondback or Live Oak,
Yeah.
and it came down to 15, and I had about a 10-foot birdie putt, and he had about a
3 or 4 foot.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I went first because I was out, obviously, and I ended up making my birdie putt, and he missed his par putt, and at that time I was down 4, so or no, I was down 2, wasn't I?
you're down
I
2.
was down 2, and so
So you make, he misses, y'all are now tied.
yeah, now we're tied going into 16. We both par 16. Then we get to
Is
17.
it still the original 16?
Yes,
Original.
yeah. And so we
Okay.
get to 17, which is that
Par
tough
5?
par 5 with 2 creeks, and So we all lay up short of the first creek, and then I get on in 3, and I've got about a 20-foot birdie putt, and he was at the way front of the green, pin was at the back, and he 3 putts, and so I've got my birdie putt, and I make it, and so now I'm up 2 going into 18, and I par, and he pars, and so I ended up beating it. I shot 73, he shot 77, so.
Wow.
Yeah, after, on 18, I was like, when he made that putt, I was like, with Kyle, I was stressing. It was like a heavyweight bout.
Right.
Like, I mean, you talk about the kid makes a birdie, he bogeys, Branson bogeys. Then the next hole, Branson birdies, and the other kid bogeys. And it's just like a back-to-back forth. But I just told Branson, I said, dude, 2 more shots. That's all we got to get. Driver, get on the green, 2 putt.
Well, and so the other day, Branson and I talked on Wednesday at Mulligan's, and we were talking about that second day, and it's like, it didn't start off too good. So, obviously we know that golf is a very mental game, and a lot of people can't handle the pressure of that. And so talk about how, I think I recall you saying that you bogeyed that first hole on the second day, and so you didn't start off very good, and you knew you had some ground to make up.
Yeah.
So take us through, like, what was, your mental space during that? How did you overcome that to then go on to beat him?
Well, that first hole, I 3-putted, and which was very, very stressful, I guess you could say. And then, because then I was down even more. But the second hole, it's a par 3, and I hit a really nice iron shot to about 7 feet. And I think that really kind of helped me, because I knew I could try and get one back there. And so that was kind of big. And, the mental side of my game hasn't always been very good. And so, but the past year, I've really kind of overcome that. And that's helped a lot, and having coach there by my side to kind of calm me down and tell me that there's a lot of golf left. And I think it was just important to keep that in mind that you got 17 holes left. So.
Well, and I think that's the biggest deal about golf is you can't win it on the first day. You can lose the tournament on the first day. Unless it's something crazy, you've got 17 holes to bounce back. And I think making that birdie putt on 15 probably made that 3 to 4 foot par putt for the other guy. That hole got a little smaller.
Yes,
and each time it got a little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So you got regional coming up, what, 15, 16?
16th and 17th.
Okay. Yeah. So what does that look like from now till then? What does it look like for you as you get ready for, let's face it, as an amateur, this is your major coming up.
Yes, sir.
How will you get ready over the next couple of weeks?
I think it'll be spend a lot of time at the range, and don't do a whole lot of playing, just more at the range and putting green, and just kind of trying to almost dial in a little bit.
How familiar are you with the regional course? We all go up and try to play it.
I've played it one time, I think.
We played Lake Ridge in district last year. We're going to go up next Thursday. We're going to do a practice round beforehand.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And what I shot 81 last year.
Yeah, 81 last year.
Which I'm a different golfer now, so hopefully I can obviously shoot better than that.
Right. How do you? And I know we got to go to commercial. How do you take the pressure off and just play golf? Again, I wasn't in the rundown, but how do you take it? How do you take this is a regional golf tournament and say, hey, I'm going to go play golf and not make it bigger, because pressure is real.
I think
it's either a privilege or an obstacle.
Yeah,
it's your choice on how you handle it.
I think it's just go into it knowing, like, it's your senior year. You got there. You got to regionals. Now just go out and play your best, and what happens happens. But give it your best shot no matter what.
Yeah, just leave it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you and I also talked about, you can do this. You have a very good chance to make it to state, and I think that's something. I mean, obviously, the main thing first, of course, regional.
Yeah.
But I think, remember that. Let that motivate you. Like, you're a senior, go out with a bang. You already are, but man, you can do it. And yeah, I'm just so excited. Everybody knows it's no secret. I love the Kings, and Branson is kind of like, feels like a nephew to me. And so I'm just so proud of you. Our whole team is proud of you, but go out and do the dang thing because we're backing you all the way.
Just one shot at a time, though.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
One shot at a time.
definitely.
Yep.
Again, we didn't act, sorry, Coach Bacon, we didn't get to those tough questions that you have for Coach Aston. Well, maybe next time when, Branson and Mitch are heading to state, we'll bring those back.
Who day, go Bengals.
Oh, there you go. Got that in. Appreciate it. Again, that is Mitch Aston and Branson King headed to regionals in about a week and a half to try to find a way to get down to Austin. Does that still happen in Austin? Round Rock, where?
It's in Georgetown.
Georgetown. Yeah. See,
Play at the
doesn't have-
Legacy.
Austin only has the track meet and baseball, I guess. When we come back, Misty's Bag, brought to you by Mully.
Great job.
Yeah, baby.
Crushed it. You want to take a picture of us? Josh, you want to get in the pic?
Man, I was hoping
You
we.
did so good.
No,
Y'all both
I
killed
wanted
it.
to get this so bad. But,
You
yeah.
did so good. Okay, let's get right here. Get right here. We're gonna stand right
Oh,
here and face this way. And then we'll, yeah, just right here.
Freshman, sophomore.
I know, imagine, dang it, I wanna slap you. Imagine where you'd be if you were.
Actually, you're probably good just because of
We wanna scoot a little bit. Yeah, we're scooting, we're scooting.
Think you're good.
All right. Big guy. One, two, three.
Yay!
All right.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. You got it. Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's,
Enjoyed it.
I wasn't good.
Yay, love you. Ooh, I know I'll be seeing y'all this
Most
week.
freshmen think they know.
Oh, proud of you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
I'm so excited.
Appreciate it.
I mean, he could have done it last year too. He missed it by
2 strokes?
2 strokes.
Oh, that's your redemption this year.
Yeah, it did.
Run
2 strokes.
to the restroom.
Yeah. Take the sausage. I mean,
Appreciate you.
Take the-
Take the sausage.
Sausage biscuits. Sausage
You
biscuits.
don't tell me what to do.
Hodge,
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
is this recorded,
Yeah, it'll be uploaded.
uploaded?
Yeah, it'll be uploaded. See ya.
One sandwich left.
Hodge, this, I could not look you were like, and Hodge and I had a moment.
I know,
And oh my God, that's why I could not look at you.
y'all,
You pulled a Misty.
no, because I didn't say
Oh, no, you
anything.
did.
I didn't say anything. No one could see it but y'all. Y'all are like,
No one could see it on Facebook Live.
no, there's no camera shining everywhere.
Oh, but I was like, I can't. I cannot look. Oh, that was great.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and we had this moment like where we both like looked at each other, and then I was like, nobody look at me because I'm gonna die laughing.
No, don't die.
Oh, so funny.
It was.
Yeah, it was pretty good because just like me saying upside down, it just kept happening.
Well, I kept doing it after the first time when y'all laughed. It's going 5th graders.
Juveniles.
Oh, it was funny.
Gosh, it was.
Welcome back to the Hodgepodge Sports Life and everything in between. We're glad that you're with us as we're jamming out. I appreciate Branson and Coach Aston from Abilene Cooper, again, heading to regionals be out in Lubbock, 16th and 17th. Wiley also won that district as a team. So local golfers continuing to go. Spring is such a busy time, if you think about it. Especially, it's a little different for the bigger schools because they're probably not spread as thin. But if you think about it, kids in Roby, which Roby, Snyder, and Stanford, the towns where Big Country is, electric, that you've got, they're playing golf, they're playing baseball, they're going to track, doing all of it to try to get it in. And so it's just, it's crazy on how busy spring can get. And so, but we appreciate those guys coming on board. Appreciate you listening. Want to give a little shout out before we do the Misty's Bag, and we'll probably kick off the hour to start Misty's Bag. So last week we talked about hats, and we talked about the upside down hats. And so, of course, for those that are watching, you can see I'm wearing the Hodge hat. I'll put this up. We've got the pink Hodge hat. And then we had some that upside down hats are supposed to, spell what you want it to say when you do this. And so shout out to Code Word. It came out different, kind of like we've all been there where things come out wrong or not the way we want them to. And so Code Word did that. So we still have some of the Pack Hodge hats or Hodge Pack hats, however you look at them. We'll sell these, but we actually have the new ones which will be Hodge Pack upside down, which Misty still hadn't got yet. Hodge Pack upside down hats that'll be coming out. They'll be available to purchase. We'll get those to you when those are out. But excited about those. I've had some compliments even on the Hodge hat that people want the Hodge hat. So
it's trending.
So what we didn't test is on the last buckle, will you be able to wear one?
I don't know. I've got a large head.
I know. So we can do that maybe here in a minute. Because you should do it with the pink Hodge hat.
No, we'll wait.
How about the Pack Hodge?
No.
Yeah,
definitely
you
not.
need the Pack Hodge
I mean,
hat.
that Pack Hodge right here. I mean,
Oh, it's just so funny.
but let's see. I think it'll go over the computer. It'll go over.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Josh. So those hats are gonna be coming in. Be on the lookout for those, and we'll get them. They'll be on sale, and you can get them. And it'll be good stuff. So, but before we do Misty's Bag, we're gonna kick off hour number 2. It is time for hour number 2, and it is also time for Misty's Bag.
All right, we are brought to you by Mulligan's, and that was such a sweet segment to have the Kings in the house. And obviously, Brinson has played a ton of golf at Mulligan's, and so that was really just cool to have them right before the segment that they support and have supported for a long time. So we appreciate Mulligan's for all that they do for us. Reminder about they have their karaoke, their Jindo, Wing Wednesday, all the things, loud music. Go to I think the best thing is just to go to their Facebook page so you can stay up to date with everything happening at Mulligan's, because let me tell you, it is a lot. They always have fun going on out there, different benefits, gatherings on the patio. Literally, y'all know it's one of my favorite places on the earth. I'm always there. Josh's kid thinks that, Clay lives there, which is not too far off. So we're always there. We love it.
That is a really funny story.
It is
I might have
such
to
a
share
funny.
that.
Have you shared that before?
Have I said that in there?
I don't
think so.
Go
All right.
for it.
I'll tell this story because it is very funny. It involves Mulligan's. So my son Barrett and I were at a basketball game, walking through the crowd. I see a friend of mine named Clay, and I say, "Hey, Clay," and he's like, "Hey, and Barrett looks up at me and says, "That's not Clay. He's at Mulligan's." And it's like, "Well, he may be." He's like,
How old is Barrett?
he's 6.
Yeah.
And he's like, "He's always at Mulligan's." And I was like, "Well, maybe, I don't know, but
No, it's.
that's not Clay."
Yeah, wrong Clay, but yes. The other play is probably a Mulligan's because, I mean, we just love it and we love sports and it's just the best place to go watch all your sports. We were there last weekend for watching some, March Madness and it's just been so fun, but they always have stuff going on. I like to say the spring and kind of summer leading up into the fall, it's like prime time to be out on the range. It's just so fun. Obviously, us three have been out there many nights.
I mean, it's a little chilly this weekend, obviously, but we're in that time of year where it's usually not too hot, not too cold, just
Perfect,
like
yeah.
get outside and do things. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's been fun. So yeah, get on out to 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive and take a drive on the range at Mulligan's. So all right, here we go. This, I hope y'all did not see this, but a listener sent me this.
how would we have seen it?
Well, it was on, I think there was a rendition of this on a sports show this week.
Hodge probably saw it.
So we'll see. But it's a little bit different, but it's very similar. So we're going to go with this one. Which athlete would you call to be your phone a friend lifeline on a game show, and who would you not want to call? So which athlete would you call? You don't know the question. You just would have to pick. Kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Do y'all remember that show?
Yeah.
You had like,
Was that in the 90s?
I don't know. Surely not.
No.
It must have been in the 2000s for me to remember.
That's why I said that. I think a lot of it's kind of like Survivor and your other Naked Afraid questions is what type of,
Could be anything, any kind of trivia.
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
Right.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Y'all remember you could do a 50-50,
Yeah.
ask the audience or phone
Hey,
a friend.
I'm
you don't
not-
know the question.
well, but I know what type of game it is.
Yeah, but those questions, like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, he went to Dartmouth.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Quarterback for every team in the NFL.
Yes.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, he went to Dartmouth. There'll probably be a good chance that he would be somebody to call.
Who would you not want to call? Anybody come to mind?
I would probably, I think some others that I would put in the running to call would be, I think Charles Barkley would be a good one. He seems pretty knowledgeable.
That would be interesting if nothing else.
Mhm.
I would.
He's one of the funniest people on TV.
I would probably not. Lynn Lawhon says he would call Roger Staubach.
Oh, that's a good one.
I probably would not call Gronk.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
Except for or Travis Kelce, because I think either one of those would probably be entertaining with their. But yeah, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick just comes to mind because he went to Dartmouth. Probably a smart guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Or Andrew Luck. He went to Stanford, but he would have to use the whole 2 minutes to answer because he just seems like he's always been.
Well, yeah, now he's the general manager of a college team.
Yeah.
That's
Kind of a big deal.
That's a thing. Let me think about this for just a second more. I'll go with Greg Maddox, especially when he wears those glasses. He
Looks
looks
smart.
he
He
looks
looks
very
very
good.
smart.
And they called him the professor.
He looks very studious.
So I'll go with Greg Maddox. I don't know what he knows about anything, but like I said, he looks smart. And someone I wouldn't want to call. I mean, there's a lot of I wouldn't want to calls because as you all know, there's like the perception of the big dumb jock, and that's like, in my experience, it's fairly true. But I mean, there's exceptions, obviously, but yeah, Gronk is the classic. Just I don't know how actually intelligent he is, but he plays that persona
He
of
would
like
probably
the
be a
meathead.
genius.
Like just you would expect him to be more likely to like smash a beer can on his head than like answer a trivia question.
That's why I asked if it was the type of game show. I may be calling him first.
Oh, well, I know
Right.
that's like that could be of benefit, but
I wouldn't call Jerry Jones. I know he's not an athlete, but I wouldn't
No.
call Jerry.
no.
It would take-
I want to call him some names.
It would take
Choice
him 30
words.
minutes to answer the question, and he wouldn't answer it.
Well, he never does actually answer the question.
I got a lot of positivity about why I don't know that positivity of answer.
But I'm trying to think if I could think of somebody that he's passed away, but he was very, very well known for really off the wall answers. Obviously, Yogi Berra.
Oh, I'd have called John Wooden. If we're calling people that are dead, I'm calling John Wooden.
I mean, sure, we can,
Okay,
or
because,
revive them
like-
and ask them a question.
Because y'all have known some of those Yogi Berra isms, like
Oh, yeah.
98% mental and the other half is physical. Yeah, that's impossible.
It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, so you'd probably get some really brilliant answers, but they
Lynn
probably
Lawhon
would be
says-
incorrect.
Len Lawhon says not call. Anyone who got concussed last week.
Oh, yeah, that would be
Yeah, that's a
high
good
on,
one.
high on the
Injury
list.
report.
All right.
So who's your go-to?
I think I would call Kurt Herbstreit.
Okay.
If I was gonna phone a friend, I feel like,
Okay, I forgot. I mean, he is an athlete and an analyst.
I feel like he's pretty, knowledgeable. So I think I would probably go with him. And then, gosh, it's hard to pick. I mean, Gronk is like, I feel like there's not a better choice of who not to pick than Gronk. Just, for obvious reasons.
There could be a lot of people though, because there's like a lot of baseball players that when they speak Spanish as their first language and you can't really understand them.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
that nothing against their intelligence, but like, you just can't understand them.
You'd have to have an interpreter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that person couldn't talk because you don't get them called.
I know, so then you'd be just right.
I probably wouldn't call Hulk Hogan. He's somebody that I don't think
There's a lot of steel,
yeah,
boots,
he's been like knocked around a lot.
a lot of
so,
steel chairs to the back of the head.
Yeah.
probably, yeah, I don't think I'd call him.
So you're going Hulk Hogan and you're calling Kurt Herbstreit, which ironically we can because he's been on
Right,
the
he's
show.
been on the show, yeah.
Yeah, and you're going Greg Maddox, who was born in San Angelo, for those that look on the back of the baseball cards, and you're going not who?
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra. I went Ryan Fitzpatrick just because he went to Dartmouth and it might be beneficial, and I went with no Gronk.
And I also would not call Aaron Rodgers, but that's no secret either.
No, he would be in the dark.
Well,
He's just so weird.
he-
Like, I don't think that would be.
That would be another interesting answer.
I
It
think
would
I
be.
think a fun person to call would be Pat McAfee,
Yeah.
and he would probably know the answer, but you would have to have the dump button because he would F on it.
I mean, I'd love to call, Josh Allen.
He's made it all right on his less explicit ESPN.
He's done just fine.
But when that happened, when he went to ESPN, I'd heard his show when it was on
Just YouTube.
Sirius, whatever, Mad Dog Sports, I think it was like one of the edgier sports, things, and it was unlistenable. Like I'm not big into like using curse words for multiple verbs, adjectives,
Like
adverbs.
it's the only one that exists.
Yeah, and so a random swear word here and there, I'm like, okay, we're adults here, but then when it just becomes over the top, I can't do it.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
So,
I
and that
also
show was
wouldn't-
like that, but now it's dumbed down, I guess, or dumbed up. I don't know what you call that on ESPN, and his stick is kind of entertaining.
I also would not want to talk to Stephen A. Smith.
Oh wow.
So that's another one that it would be
Now the
entertaining.
irony is,
And
he
he does
probably,
know a lot.
he probably have the wisdom. I think you would be
Right,
shocked on
but-
needing to call him for answers.
I don't know that I want to.
Well, if it's anything anti-Cowboys, he probably needs to be your first call.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
that is true.
He might make the short list.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later. The Cowboys also added a quarterback yesterday with a trade. Not real sure
did.
about why they did that. We need a backup because Cooper Rush is no longer a Cowboy. But when we come back, March Madness is here. The Final Four, both the men and the women, are set. San Antonio is doing something for the first time since 2008. We'll tell you what that is. And yes, we're going to get to hear just as much as Josh loves hearing that the Dodgers are on pace to win 162 games. We're going to find out somebody's in second place, and it's not one of us.
Oh my goodness.
Got to figure out who this Gary person is.
Oh, I need to send y'all that invite now that I actually have it correct.
We'll talk next week. Obviously, I'm out, and you two and Greg are in.
Yeah, I'll figure that out.
John with DRI, we need to book him. He's going to come talk and promote the cattle auction.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then the other is Amber McKinney
Yes.
wants to come talk about JA.
Oh, next week? Yeah, well then we can just have guests do some back-to-backs.
My other thought was if the guy wins, that's not here, I don't know what we'll do. But I thought about having, unless
You don't know who Gary Biscotti is? No, I don't either.
but he could have just entered the public deal and could live in Tucson, Arizona. Or Africa.
Africa.
Good.
Okay, I'm sending y'all this, and I hope that y'all can come. So when do you start?
Monday. Yep, wrong.
Oh, yay! That's exciting.
Yeah.
That
It
is
is.
good.
It
Good,
is.
good, good. I'm so glad. I don't know why, but I'm like leaning forward in this picture. I'm not. I'm like, I'm about to fall. Cute picture though. Branson's such a cute kid.
He has similar mannerisms to his dad, which cracks me up.
I know, yes, they really do. It is amazing though, like, he picked it up, it's like he's just got such a natural talent, which, I mean, obviously, like, his family is super athletic and gifted at golf, but imagine, like, if he picked it up earlier, or got, like, more serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy to think, like, where he could be today. Kyle cracked me up though, because he came through the tunnel and all of a sudden he was just like right there. But obviously he's been on the show, he knows.
That's what, when I turned around and he was sitting over there, it's like, I didn't know he was here.
Uh-huh, yeah, he knows how to.
My other thought was, we could also have Cameron come in, or Fat Matt.
Uh-huh, yeah. And also, we've never had anybody from Coleman County State Bank come on. And so I was talking to Tammy the other day and,
Did she want to?
uh-huh, she was saying just to talk about like the market and just things like that. So we may need to look into that as well. We're quiet today. I'm like, it's been a good week, but I'm tired today.
I can't, there's only one person that I found named Gary Fitzsimmons. I don't know.
Welcome back to the Hodgeback Sports Live and everything in between as we get rocking and rolling right here on the Hodgeback 106.9, the Country Giant. Hour number 2 brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. Be sure you give them a call or head over to their website to check out rates, get you a new house, rental, business, new place to live. Call Tammy and the folks over there at Coleman County State Bank and they will get you taken care of. March Madness is here. We've got our bracket. It's out. The Final Four is set in the men and the women. We'll talk about the women real quick. Not all 4 number 1 seeds in the women's bracket. They are heading to Tampa, but you've got UCLA, UConn, South Carolina, and Texas. 4 really good teams. I think if Juju Watkins doesn't get hurt for USC, they also may have all 4 teams. but Gino Auriemma, Paige Bugner, and those ladies are heading to another Final Four. And we think about dynasties and all those things. What Gino Auriemma has done at UConn is absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, no, without a doubt. I mean, you can't take anything away from him. He is incredible. I really enjoy watching him.
And so tonight, it will be the Final Four for the women start tonight. Texas and South Carolina, and UConn and UCLA. UCLA being there for the first time. It'll be interesting to see, can any of those three, obviously it's going to have to be a UConn and UCLA winner, and can Texas tonight, can they knock off Dawn Staley in South Carolina from defending their national championship, winning her fourth? Again, we talked about it last week. Aaliyah Chavez heading to OU did not pick Texas or South Carolina, which were two of her other choices. And so we'll probably, depending on where we eat tonight, may try to watch some of that. Texas beat TCU to advance. And so you've got two SEC teams playing each other, and then, of course, UConn and UCLA. Other coaching news that came out, we saw in the University of Texas as we move to the men's, Sean Miller, Coach Terry out at UT. Sean Miller is now the new coach at University of Texas. He was at Arizona, spent some time was at Xavier, and now is the new coach at Texas. Buzz Williams decides to leave Texas A&M and go to Maryland. Maryland, kind of shocked about that one. Do you guys think, when you think, I know maybe you think more football, but leaving A&M to go to Maryland seems like, nothing against Maryland and all that. Coach Williams leaves A&M to go to Maryland. That kind of shocked me.
Yeah, I mean, to us, yeah, thinking about it, it seems like it would be, I don't know if you would call it like a demotion, less prestigious university, how you would want to label that. But no, I agree. I think when you stack the two against each other, I would definitely go with A&M, but it could be maybe because I'm a little biased. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Well, yeah, A&M definitely has a lot of money,
I just wonder if it was a less pressure. The Big Ten is a great basketball conference. It's right now not as good as the SEC, and maybe that's my thought. I go to the Big Ten, and have less pressure than I am at A&M. It shocked me that they made that call, and they reached out to Chris Beard, and Chris Beard said, "I'm staying at Ole Miss," and all these other coaching changes have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have to start looking at, where does A&M go to be?
You got to find the next
guy, because Buzz Williams, he's done a really good job at everywhere he's been. I talked to Hunter Archibald yesterday. Hunter's helped us a couple times here on the Hodgeback. Big A&M guy, going there, does a lot of posts for them about A&M stuff. And he said he thought a lot of it was the guys that Buzz had coached, that he had recruited, all graduated, and I guess maybe didn't want to go about that rat race of bringing more in. I don't know. But the Texas A&M basketball job is open, and so interesting to see what the Aggies do there. One job that is not open, and a great job by Coach McCaslin, but guys, last weekend, the Texas Tech Red Raiders had every chance to be in the Final Four, had the lead over number 1 Florida, and it just slipped away.
It did just slip away, just came down to clutch time and didn't get it done, and that's to say that Florida is very good, and that's not something to necessarily just hang your head over, but to be that close, kind of be in control and not able to maintain it, it's a dagger.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say than I agree. Just a heartbreaker for the Red Raiders for sure.
Well, 25 for 27 and 25 of 27 and 7 for 13. You want to guess what that is?
Free throws.
Free throws.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because when I was watching that, I was getting very irritated at the lack of free throw percentage from the Red Raiders, because that is just like, we see it time and time again. You have to make your free throws.
Well, and that's missing free throws is what allows teams to come back.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's just kind of
But when
a
you.
quintessential kind of thing. But
Yeah,
you know,
it's frustrating when you
gotta,
can see it come down to that being a pivotal moment. You're like, come on, guys. But
and you know, and not to make excuses for the like SEC versus the Big 12 as a whole, and you know, base it off of just you know a few games, but it really does seem like the SEC just has um, more size, length, athleticism, you know, like across the board, which really kind of you know surprised me on one hand because you know Big 12 basketball is not second rate, you know, and in fact, until very recently, you know, they've been considered the best basketball conference. The SEC just kind of decided they wanted to do that too, I guess. But the athlete quality on the court, you know, like man for man across the you know the five on the court, the taller, bigger guy was almost universally Florida.
yeah, well, and I think, you know, it changes the pace of the game. You can just tell, like, it's just, I think about that with Texas and TCU when I was watching that game. Sometimes you can just see the pace of the game.
What were you watching?
What did I say?
Say again.
Texas,
And
was it TCU they played?
which is who?
The women's. I
Thank-
caught
yeah,
the end.
yeah.
One game I caught the end of out of the women's that bracket. But you could just tell TCU, they just could not hang with Texas. And sometimes there's just that clear pace change, and you just cannot come back from that.
But I think that's the hard part, and we talked about when Branson was playing that kid, and Branson made the 15-footer for birdie. And the kid he's playing against now has a 3 to 4 foot putt for par, and that hole may get a little smaller, and the pressure comes. Well, it's 71-61 with 6:03 left to go, and of course it was JT Toppin makes a layup with 6:18 left to go to give the Red Raiders a 10-point lead. And then they go and they take off and they get to, they miss a couple of shots, not worried about that, but then Florida gets the rebound, kicks it out, and then Walter Clayton Jr., who goes off in the next 5:24 till the end, was on fire, like NBA jams, turn around, anything he threw up was going in, and then you start seeing the steamroll take place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the hardest things to stop. You mentioned it from a TCU win and start. They didn't have enough firepower. Could not hold off and take care of Texas. Well, here deep down, and Charles Barkley even said he thought Tech might have been the best team on the floor that night, but Florida, they just didn't go away, and they make that three, and so it just starts creeping. But then you look, and missed layups are one thing, but you look 3:52, go down. No, we're still good. Clayton makes another shot, but when you start seeing with 2:43 left, up 6, missed free throw, and normally if you see only one free throw, what's the problem?
Well, it's the 1-and-1.
It's a 1-and-1 where you had another chance for another one. And that happens 1, 2, 3, 4 more times, and they just keep giving Clayton and those people chances. And the irony is Texas Tech loses the same way they beat Arkansas.
Yeah.
They came back, beat Arkansas, and could not hold off Florida. And here's where so let me tell you my Uber story. So we went to dinner and was co-op folks, and so we were riding, and our Uber driver took us to our restaurant, and the guy goes, we were talking, because every time I get in an Uber, feel free to take this, but every time I get in an Uber, I always ask this question: who's the most famous person you've ever met? And we were talking, and he said he picked up the Mavericks, the band. You remember the Mavericks?
Oh, yeah.
About a while back. Well, then he was telling me that he picked up this guy, college kid, or maybe whatever. And he got in the car, and he goes, "Man, I don't know if he was just a big Red Raider fan, or if he had money on it or what." But he got in the car and boo-hooed like a crocodile tears the whole Uber ride. Didn't say a word. And so I go to this, I bring this up because if you're a Red Raider fan, and we were around them all Wednesday night and yesterday, a lot of them love it. You know, they lost the national championship to Virginia in 2019. Still to this day, if you give up the layup and they cut it to one, instead of they stop it, they get the kick out and they tied it up and go into overtime. And I'm a big believer in when you tie it up to go to overtime, momentum is so heavy on their side, and they lose that. I'm not saying, and we'll get your picks in a moment in the Final Four. But let's say you upset Florida, you finish it off, and you go play Auburn. You got a lot of momentum there. You're maybe the team of destiny. How upset are you going to be if Houston beats Duke? And Houston is a team that you beat once at their place, almost beat them at your place the second time, but lost in 1-1. And the butter match was going to be Big 12 versus Big 12 for the national championship. I know it was in the national championship when they lost to Virginia. But where do you think you rank this team when it comes to losses for Texas Tech?
I mean, it's obviously up there just because, like you just walked through it. They had the game in hand, 10 points up with 6 minutes left. And if you make half of your free throws at that point, you probably win the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the momentum of missing those free throws every single time, it's just like another dagger. That momentum shifts, and then, whenever
Well,
the other guy goes off, it's just hard to compete
And
with
to
that.
Hodges' NBA Jam analogy, you know, like if they're on fire, you put out the fire by scoring some points.
Right.
Yeah, like, and
Well, and I go back to this, you know, Darian Williams misses one with 2:43. JT Toppin misses one with 2:08. And then next thing you know, with 1:47 left, Walter Clayton drains another three-pointer to tie it up. Now Tech goes back up with a layup, and they're up 77-75, but then Clayton hits another three to go up. And after that, it never happened. And so, and I don't know, and again, the good thing is we got an assistant. That's what's so crazy about sports is when you see that momentum. It's kind of like in Over the Top 1980 something movie when
I have seen that movie with it's the
Yeah,
arm wrestling
yeah,
movie, right?
and Sly turns
Kurt
his hat
Russell?
backwards.
Yeah.
Was it Kurt?
No, Sylvester
Oh,
Stallone.
Stallone, yeah.
He turns his hat backwards and does whatever this is,
Yeah.
and it takes him over. But it's like when momentum starts making its change, it's like a video game or whatever when they're in those walls and the walls are pressing in and they're like trying to stop them before it crushes them. It's almost like that's the way it is, and there's no way to stop it, like unless you finally make a bucket and get a little breather. But they were never able to do that, and so I feel for them because I like Coach McCaslin, had a chance to meet him, been around him a little bit, but Tech had it right there.
I was actually, and I don't know y'all's opinion on this, but I was surprised with how well they played against Florida. Not saying that the Red Raiders didn't have a great team, but I just thought that Florida was way better. And so I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get this pick wrong because I had Florida obviously
Yeah,
winning
and
that
I was
game.
totally okay, obviously losing that.
Oh,
game.
me too. But all to say that when they were up 10, I was like, whoa, like I did not see that.
But I think it's a prime example of why every game they always say nothing on paper matters. You've got to play the game.
Of course.
Is that, and Tech had that opportunity. Tech had that chance to say, you know what, hey, this is our moment. We may not beat you any other time, but we've got you on the ropes today.
right.
Right.
Could be
And then-
one out of 10.
Yeah.
But if today's the one, and
But
like,
then out of nowhere, Florida became rocky and started coming back.
Mhm.
And then next thing you know, they're there, and it's the first time since 2008, which I think is kind of like when you start looking about even baseball, that not since 1960, the 3 straight 1 losses. The fact that this is the only second time that all 4 number 1 seeds are at the Final Four, and it only happened in 2008, is kind of shocking to me. So
that was one of my problems when I was filling out the bracket, which I did end up having all 4 number 1s in the Final Four when I filled out the bracket. But I kept telling myself, this isn't going to happen. You know, like that it just does not happen. But then when I kept looking back at it, you know, it's like, well, but I don't think Tennessee's going to beat Houston. As much as I would like to see Tech beat Florida, I don't think it's going to happen. And then so I made these picks. And
So I
like,
told this out to you. We got it down again. We joked Misty is number 2 overall in the bracket. I'm down there in the 30s, I think, or maybe 40. I don't know. I do have 3 of the
stop
4.
paying attention. It's okay.
I do have 3 of the 4. I've got Florida, Auburn, and Houston. I had Alabama, did not know what Cooper Flagg's status was. You can't, and we would be injustice not to mention how well that kid's playing.
Oh yeah.
I think the Houston.
Him being injured did, I think, put some doubt in people's minds. Is he going to be at
Mhm.
full steam? And he is definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think the Houston.
But are they going to shoot 65% for the next 2 games?
Yeah.
Houston plays really good defense. That's why I'm glad it's game number 2. I think it's going to be the better of the 2. But you've got another, just like in the women's side, you got 2 SEC, Florida and Auburn going against each other. I've got Florida over Auburn. Who do y'all? What do y'all have? You got Florida winning it all.
I've got Florida over Auburn and then Duke over Houston.
I got Florida and Houston in the finals. Josh, what do you got?
I've got Houston in the finals. Hold on, I've switched it to the unknown bracket. I don't know who that guy is, but I've got Florida and Houston.
Florida and Houston. I do think any of the games. I think Florida against either of those 2 will be a great final. And I'm not above Bruce Pearl getting there either because I kind of like Bruce Pearl. And I'll finish with this. It was funny. One side of the bracket that we're trying to get to the Final Four is you had Rick Barnes, Kelvin Sampson, Bruce Pearl, and another older guy. I went blank. And then the other side was the young guys in Duke.
Izzo.
Yeah, Tom
Oh,
Izzo.
so
Yeah. So anyway,
Or
great stuff.
Michigan.
Who will win? Again, thank you to Fat Matt Roofing for being our bracket challenge sponsor. When we come back, I'm going to throw something out at Josh. We'll talk a little football, and then also a thing that happened this week, and I want to get their opinion on as we do our Black Pony social media question of the week. All right, so what I'm going to throw at you.
Okay, I had a few.
All right, bye-bye.
I mean,
Go TT.
it's so weird to say Tiki.
Lou's got the Final Four all correct, and he's got Duke playing Auburn and Duke winning it all.
I'm gonna tell you, if Coach Schneider, how you say Shiner, if he were to take Cooper
Flag and take take them to the national title and win it all as such a young coach, that would be pretty impressive for him to do that after replacing Coach K. All right, so I'll give you a heads up. So our Black Pony social media question was Nicolo Joko went 60, had a 60-plus point triple-double. Let me see how I worded it.
Okay, what's the question?
So,
Barrett had the entire Elite Eight and Final Four picked correctly.
Me too.
Right.
Me and Barrett. I have never done this well in bracket in my
Right.
entire life.
And Barrett and I are currently, I'm 1 game ahead of him in our little family bracket challenge. I used a different bracket in that than I did in the Hodgepodge.
Uh-huh.
I should have used that one in the Hodgepodge. But he's got Auburn and I've got Florida.
Ooh.
And that's the only game we have picked with a different outcome. So it's a big one at our house.
That's so fun.
'Cause it'll be-
Collins has the Final Four, but I kind of helped her because she did one for school. And so she was like, I don't know, like who? And I'm like, just pick, it doesn't matter. And then she's like, well, who did you pick? And then she ended up picking who I did. So it's been fun to do it because I've never really done it with her, but since they were doing one for school,
Yeah.
that's been kind of fun.
No, we,
So,
every year we have the family bracket challenge. Luke's doing very well in our hodgepodge bracket, but he picked a different bracket in our family deal, and he's the opposite of me. His family bracket's not doing well, but his hodgepodge bracket's doing well. I've been back and forth on that. There's sometimes that, like every pool I enter, I do the exact same bracket,
you've said that.
and then other
sometimes
times I'm
you
like,
change it up.
I'll just change it up, but then you start trying to like, well, if I pick this one in this bracket, I'll pick this one in this one, and then you end up just like shooting yourself out of doing well in any of them.
Right.
But
So Nikola Jokic went 60 point triple double. Okay. What is the most impressive performance you can recall? Or in that, is it going 5 for 5? Is it shooting low in golf? Is it throwing for, running for? What do you think is the most impressive thing in Challenge St. Luke? Because to me, a 60 point triple double, they did lose. I can put that in. I know they lost. That's what I'm throwing at you.
okay.
That's a hard question.
Welcome back to the Hodgepodge, sports, life, and everything in between. Want to give you a couple things. Shout out our folks at DRI Shredders, 325-677-6815. Next week, John Keaty will be in studio to talk about the upcoming DRI cattle auction. So be sure you tune in. Of course, always download, subscribe, rate, review. If you miss any part of the podcast or any part of the show, you can download the podcast like Branson and Coach Ashton's video interview as they were talking about getting ready for the regional golf tournament. And again, reminder, Addy Quick this Sunday at Drive, Chip, and Putt, be on the finals, be on the Golf Channel. Set your recorders for that. Our Black Company social media question of the week. This past week, Nikola Jokic, Joker, whatever you want to call him. I mentioned earlier in the Lawrence Hall headline report that not a whole lot of NBA is being watched by me. I watch some. I like watching Luka. I like watching Steph Curry. I still think as a guy that, as quiet as he kind of is, he is the fun, if you will, shots and all that. And this past week, and they did not win, but Nikola, the Denver Nuggets, playing really well. Jokic trying to win his third straight MVP. Went for a 60-point triple-double. He went 60, 10, and 10, I believe. And so I threw this out as our Black Plumbing, Heating, and Air question of the week. What's the most impressive performance you can recall? You know, some may go to the Jordan Flu game. Saquon Barkley going for 200 yards. The Tiger Woods, the huge dominating win in '97 to win the Masters. The run that Scotty Scheffler went on. Maybe you've got a baseball one. But when you start thinking about being in that kind of rhythm where you're just making everything. We saw a couple weeks ago when Spears went for 10 threes in the Alabama Elite Eight game. But when you start watching that, and maybe it's a come from behind, we saw that with the Atlanta Falcons and Tom Brady, down 28-3 and comes back and wins the Super Bowl. What is more impressive? Somebody going off on like that in a basketball game, baseball, golf, football. It's just very impressive when you start to think about what he did that night. And yes, he's a professional.
No, that's very, very impressive. It is, like you mentioned, it's interesting to have that kind of game and your team still lose, you know, which it just seems kind of odd. You know, it's like, but you know, my pick, and because I was reminded about this like just this week when you know, all the talk with the Yankees and all that they've done hitting the ball with the torpedo bat and all of that, but Aaron Judge had a 3-homer game, and he came up to bat in the 9th inning with the opportunity to go for a 4-homer game. And that reminded me of watching Josh Hamilton have his 4-homer game against the Orioles a few years ago. And the 4-homer game is something that's happened 18 times in the history of Major League Baseball. So it's a pretty rare feat and something that, like you mentioned, you have to be completely locked in for the entire game and just feeling it.
Well, and I thought about this, and again, very much, and we could have asked Branson this too, and I'm obviously much of an amateur golfer, but there's been days, for example, last week I played, and I went 45-39. Obviously, I'm an amateur. On the back nine, I'm shooting 39, and while I'm doing so, I'm hitting the ball well. I'm parring 2, 3, 4 in a row, and I bring this up because seeing these people that win tournaments like Trevor Immelman, he won the Masters. Didn't matter if he won anything else. He won the Masters, and for 4 days he was in rhythm. Had to go to bed, wake up, and do the same thing 3 days in a row. And so when you start thinking about those performances, to me, I think it's unbelievable. So I'm curious what you think is some of the hardest and maybe the most impressive. I've got another one, but it wasn't in a single moment.
Yeah, I think mine is more just the act of like hitting for the cycle, and also like a grand slam, tennis grand slam, or, just more of like able to achieve that, not necessarily like a standout moment of that particular athlete. I think it's just more about kind of like what Josh said, hitting a 4 home runs in a game or whatever that specific act is. So I think I'm going to go more the act, not the athlete.
Because, in football, Saquon goes for 200 yards. A lot of things have to happen for that to work. Offensive line got to create holes. He's got to run to those. In Jokic's situation, you still have to have somebody pass you the ball. But once it gets to you, you're the one that's got to be in rhythm.
Yes,
stay hot, strong. I've never seen anybody throw a bold 300 game, but I would put that.
My dad and brother both have bowled. My dad has 2 and my brother has 1 perfect game, and it is crazy.
But you think about it, you've got to stay in the same rhythm, the same.
That's one I wasn't even thinking about.
The same rhythm, the same stroke, the same everything mindset to continue to do that. Because I think about golf, and maybe bowling's very similar. I'm a hope I get to the triple digits bowler. But even in golf, and Branson had to overcome a bogey hole 1. But let's say you hit a great drive, boom, and you're in this rhythm, especially in the pro world. And honestly, it's the same if you're an amateur. You got to get in a golf cart, or you got to walk to the next hole, line up, get in your same routine, and do it again. And then it's the same thing where you see, like, unfortunately, my buddy right now, Paul Story, Tom Kim. Tom Kim's struggling. Like, he'll be good, and all of a sudden he's got squares on his card. But staying in that rhythm and that consistency for a period of time, we see the success of coaches. We see the success of players where every year they're in that. Scotty Scheffler's in it right now. But I go back to 1998. When you think about what Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were doing, bringing people back to baseball with the home run.
Right.
And how they stayed consistent and eventually, because each night, even though all it is I'm trying to find a fastball to go yard, I've got to stay in rhythm and not plateau and start going the other way. And what Jokic is doing now, and you're seeing this, and even LeBron, and I'm not a big fan, he's 40 plus years old and still dropping 30. But when you start thinking about those performances, it's amazing what they're able to do in maybe the 300
Yeah,
games.
for sure. And and I like Hodge said, my goal when I bowl is to just not get 90 something. But even in that, you talk about, I would see it in bowling, golf, baseball, probably more than basketball or football, where you roll your ball, you take your bat, you hit your tee shot, and then you have some time to think about it. Like you wait for your turn, like you wait for your next at bat. And I think it would be very easy to start pressing and allowing your brain to get in your way, whereas probably in basketball, it's more fluid, and you're out there, you're moving around, and you're not just like sitting waiting, thinking like, like when you come up for that fourth, fifth at bat of the game, you've already hit 3 homers, and you know that you're, one of, however many ever that have hit 3, but only 18 have ever hit 4, and how bad are you just trying to hit a home run that next time up, so it's like, it allows you have to overcome that mental, you gotta hit that drive, or you then follow it up with that great approach shot. But now I gotta go make this putt, and I'm going up there. I'm thinking about it, this, because I've done this playing golf many times, to where I'm on pace to have like my best round ever. Which we don't really need to talk about what that number is, but it's like I'm on pace for
It's
like,
still your best. It's still your
on
best.
pace, through 13, 14, 15 holes. Like I remember one time specifically playing at what used to be Diamondback, and I was on a pace to be like 4 or 5 strokes better than I've ever done, and then it ended up like not, because I started thinking about it. I started thinking like, man, if I keep this going, I'm going to have the best round I've ever had. And then you have a few more holes, and like, man, this is really working. Like this is and then you a little bit, you yank one into the trees, and then you're
and that's the whole thing about sports, is even if you, and I used to do this when I was shooting free throws, and I would always say, I'll go home if I make 10 in a row.
He's still with the gym. That's the problem.
And you get to 8 and 9 and you made it. And 8 and 9 were like easy. But for whatever reason, that 10th shot, pressure's real.
Yeah, you shorten it up a little bit.
And I think there's a combination of confidence. I think there's a combination of nervous. I think there's a combination of all those things that come into sports when it comes to that moment, and is able to fulfill it. There's a reason. Jordan, you're getting this last shot. LeBron, you're getting, right, like or not, you're getting this last shot. And, who would you want if you had to have a drive, hit a fairway for X? Who do you want to do that? And so, and the thing of it is, I don't care if you coach T-ball, the pros, it's pretty hard to simulate a putt for a green jacket.
Oh, it's impossible.
It's hard to simulate, if I make this last strike, I bowl a 300.
Yep.
Because there's a reason. The whole superstitious thing is, if somebody's got a no-hitter, you stay away from it.
Right.
Because you start thinking about what that means. And I think a lot of it.
And I see that with, you mentioned like coaching. My boys are playing machine pitch right now. So our team, we go out and practice, and I've got several players on the team that in practice just, they hit the ball. Like we feed the machine, they hit it.
They're comfortable.
Yeah. And then Saturday morning comes around, and it's time to take the field, and it's whiff, go sit down. And it's like, and I know that's a mental, trying too hard. You're nervous. You're out there. You're playing the game. And instead of just being comfortable and up there and having fun and doing what you've worked on and what you know how to do, you let your mind get in the way. And that's something that and that's one thing I really like about sports, and why I think that children need to play sports and need to find at least one that they get kind of competitive into, because it teaches you to have a little bit of adversity and have that step up. It teaches you to think like, I can't just get pressure and then fold to it. I've got to figure out how I work with this pressure. But then, you're talking about the best athletes in the world, and the fact that we saw that with Texas Tech versus Florida. You could kind of see the deflation starting to happen, and then it was like, we're very nervous and we're not able to do the things that we can do. And it's just, it all comes from the noggin.
Right.
All right.
Pressure's real. We'll be back right after this. Because it is, it just.
You brought up, like, I hadn't even thought of bowling, but that is like, I remember my parents, like, my mother was a really good bowler too. She never bowled the 300, but upper 200s. And I did not see my family members get a 300, but I've been with them before at like league and stuff where it's like maybe in that ninth, or eighth frame, they've got all strikes, and then people start watching. They'll start coming over and they're like, and then, they've spared up or whatever, and they're like, oh, but it's like that pressure also of everybody just all eyes on you, and, oh, no. I'm like, no, thank you. I'd like to go bowling though. I haven't been in a long time. I used to be like pretty good at it.
I haven't in, I don't know how long it's been, but used to, that was one of those things that would randomly come up that like group of people would go do, and it just doesn't anymore.
I know.
I mean, I think the problem is, for me at least, in my typical like group of associates, like everyone's just got kids that are doing stuff all the time, so we don't do anything.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's like, or you have to have just them out running outside, or
Right.
And they're all little.
Yeah.
Like, y'all's friend group has a lot of little kids. See, in our friend group, like they're all like junior high or older.
Yeah.
So we're kind of at this new season of, they can stay home by, you've got Molly. I mean, it's like if you didn't have the boys, obviously like Molly's home or doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is, y'all got lots of little ones.
Because we were talking about that the other day, how you used to, when we'd have like a cookout or people come over, we'd always like play Polish or washers or throw darts, and we don't do that anymore. Because
well, part of it, I mean, you'd have to move because the kids now take over the Polish area.
Yeah. Well, and the kids are old enough that they want to play. They want to play, cornhole, but they're not really good enough to actually like get out there and like not just be a nuisance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clay had this, like, at Kirby Smith, they did like a parks night out, and it was a bowling thing, and I remember, like, I had the highest score of everybody, and I remember the pressure, because everybody was watching, like, is she gonna get this turkey? And I'm like, stop watching me, I'm just the spouse of somebody that works here, but it was, like, crazy.
Well, welcome back to the Hodgepodge as we get ready to send you into the weekend. Jaden says that he gets a few bogeys, find a way to get a birdie back on the card. I tried to too. I tried to get a birdie this time.
You have a pencil, right?
They say the best card, the best club in your bag is the Restream.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jade's a really good golfer. Before we leave, I don't think we can not talk about it since the Dallas Cowboy Radio Network is right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. The draft is just a few weeks away. We mentioned earlier, Josh's tape is continuing to grow in accuracy on the quarterback and when you draft and how do you know that generational talent is there to do so. But the Cowboys, Cooper Rush went off to go be with the Baltimore Ravens. He got a guaranteed $4.2 million, not bad for Cooper.
That is the biggest juxtaposition of starter and backup that there probably is.
The gap from Lamar to him.
Well, and just the general way that you play the game. I mean, like RG3 was their backup there for a couple of years, and at least his game was similar, to Lamar Jackson. But Cooper Rush and Lamar Jackson are as far apart on the type of quarterback as you could possibly be.
Yeah, you literally will start the 40. Lamar will finish and just kind of start from where he left off.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. But the Dallas Cowboys did add a backup quarterback. They had a trade acquiring Joe Milton III. They acquired him and a 2025 7th-round pick, number 217 from the New England Patriots, for a 2025 5th-round pick, which will be 117 yesterday. Thoughts on adding Mr. Milton?
That's one of those things. I don't have a problem with it. And I know that he's one of those, had a decent college career, got drafted, hasn't really had a chance to do anything, so you don't know what it is on the field. But the cost, you swapped a 5th-round pick for a 7th and a backup quarterback that's under contract at rookie contract status, so you don't have to spend a lot of money. If we kind of follow the typical every other year thing with Dak, we won't have to worry about it.
Well, but I threw this out to as a tweet, and unfortunately we've only got a few minutes to say this. Is Dak approaching the Romo world.
It is every other year, he's out for an extended
uh,
period of time.
No more for what you've been done off the field than what you've done on, as far as injuries. I mean,
We're getting
Romo.
close.
I mean, Romo had great years. Josh mentioned it. The year that Dak became the guy, probably the best team. I mean, unfortunately, Romo's known for injury, the bobbled snap against Seattle, and the catch that was a catch that did become a catch. I mean, I think, but he had some really great run-around plays.
When he
some
was
great
on the
sequences.
field, he was borderline elite quarterback.
When he was healthy, he was just as good as anybody.
But it has become that Dak is very much like Romo, and the fact that every time there's some sort of big play, you're double checking to make sure he's, still going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and almost sometimes shocked when it actually converts.
Well, I mean, because like right now, if you look, and again, we're just a few weeks away from the draft, and which means shortly after that you'll have 8 OTAs and all that. But Dak Prescott, Joe Milton III, and Will Grier are your quarterbacks on the roster. And so, but there was other talks this week, the tush push, whether or not to ban it or not. We didn't get to that today, but they say they want it for safety reasons and all this. We saw the tush push not work for the Bills last year in the playoffs. And right, wrong, and different, the Eagles know how to do it and do it well. I don't think it should be banned. It's not my fault. You can't stop me. Unless you prove that there's plenty of injuries that are happening, then that's fine. That was the big talk, but it did not get passed at the NFL owner meetings. The other was, again, Jerry saying stuff on trying to what to do with Micah. I think they're going to mess around, and Myles Garrett is $40 million. If you wait around too long, your Micah's going to be way too expensive. Sign it now if you're going to do it.
That's generally the way I would look at it also.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so again, that's the Hodgepodge for today. We're glad you're with us. Did you get April Fool's?
I did not.
I didn't either. I saw
Nope.
Tiger post something about his Achilles was all of a sudden had a better joke. Michael Bacon posted a picture of a brand new suite or something at the Cougar gym or the locker room gym. Oh, that was not true.
I wanted to tell my team at work that I had a botched haircut and I got bangs and it didn't go well, and then I just could not come in to work. But
You
then,
should have went and got a wig coming into
well,
it.
I thought about getting a bang clip and just trying to hold it together, but I know I'd start laughing, so I didn't do it.
Megan would not let you get away with that.
No, I know. That's what I'm
way.
saying. They called me out.
Yeah. All right. Hey, don't forget, you can download, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. We got JB Cloud coming in at 10. Greg Austin, of course, this afternoon. Thank y'all so much, and Jones will be back with you this coming Monday. Thank you. Next week we'll have John Keaty from DRI. will be in studio. We'll have much more, and we'll have a winner of the bracket challenge, and Will Misty be the champion. We'll be back next week.
I don't know if y'all dealt with this, but it's a serious problem.